Welcome back to Casual Cactus Gaming, ladies and gentlemen. I am, as you see, Keith. I am your DM. My friends are here. Their character sheets are out. The pencils and the wits are sharpened. We are ready for tonight's episode. However, we are missing two of our players, unfortunately. Miss Kyrie is not with us. She is puppy sitting for her sick sister. And my lovely Danny, also known as Lord Scritch the Goodly, is in an entirely different time zone. Something about she's going to be doing something, a wedding or something. Anyway, I don't know. She didn't want to be here is the long and short of it. However, we do have our regular cast of characters with us, starting... you see them all here around the table. Starting over here on my left, we have the lovely Nat, and Stephen, and Jordan, and we have Seth, and Nate, and we have Lance and Braden. And as always, we are going to start with a recap, but it does not come from me. It comes from one of these lovely people across from me.
How about not an 8?
The random number generators say it's going to be Braden.
Was it an 8?
Whatever you're
closest.
using. Okay.
Closest.
Last time, after recovering from getting barrels smashed upon me, we kind of wandered around town for a little while until we found a nice inn called the Kaya's House of Repose. We also visited the Thunderous Lizard for some enjoyment, alcohol, brawling, whatever. Some fights happened, a bunch of stuff like that happened, and we also have an appointment with a broker in the morning. So
Lance kicked my ass.
Yes, I did.
and that's about all that happened.
So that's about all that happened. All right. So
I have to pick up here real quick. I do go to Lance. What was your character's name?
Gideon.
Gideon. I do go to Gideon and I pull out the 2 gold and I say that was an excellent battle. I shall follow your leadership. And I offer you the 2 gold.
I will take 1 gold back, and I'll look at the other one and say, keep that one for my own personal pleasure. It's been a while since I've had such a good duel.
You're quite skilled.
Thank you.
In mysticism as well. Where did you learn?
Picked a few things up here and there.
It's quite clever.
Thank you.
I bow at you once more.
I'll return the bow.
And I do say, if you find who cheated in this battle, I have your back. And I assure you, it was not commissioned by myself.
Well, that's good to know.
In my notes, I might be dead tomorrow.
Do you look over?
No, I don't.
So just as a reminder,
Start of a new day.
just as a reminder, the 2 of you are having this conversation in the middle of the street as it is raining on you because the bottom has fallen out of the proverbial clouds, and yeah.
I'll go inside.
So the next day dawns, and
Really quickly, I don't know how you would like to do it, but I have these rolls that I'm supposed to do at the beginning of every day. Would you like to roll those for me?
which ones are they?
So they are just 2 d20s, and then those are what I get to use through...
Okay.
He's a
D&D
divine
day.
cleric.
Yeah, I will.
Cleric,
Divine
not
wizard.
Wizard. With,
Divine
hey,
wiz-
A
divine.
little bit difference there.
What was your character's name?
Okay. All right. So, you sure you want me to roll these for you?
I do.
Okay. Your first one is a 4.
Perfect.
Your second is a 7.
You do know he can do these to you, right?
Yeah, okay. We'll see.
So
Anyway.
I also go
And
to
we
fire.
heal
Pyre is not with you.
Oh.
Pyre has had other business last night and did not accompany you guys
Okay.
to the bar. So the next morning dawns.
One minus 1 hit point, right?
The
Oh no.
1 second. I'm getting there. So you all retire for the evening and you have a long rest. When you wake the next morning, your maximum hit points have been reduced by 1 because this is now the 8th day of the death curse.
Day 1.
Day 1 of the adventure has dawned. Pyre has a room to himself, as one would expect. The other pairings go something like this. Hadrian and Gideon. Nyx, you and Miss Brightpaw shared a room in the evening, although when you wake up, she has apparently already gone out for the day. Kai, you and Elias are rooming together. And Meyer and Sploof have the room together.
Good. I was hoping that.
And we're only going to hope that Sploof kept you up all night with his tales of evil and conquering the world, and how good a minion you might actually turn out to be. Yes, Danny, I can do Sploof too.
It's not hard.
It's not hard. What is hard?
Shots fired.
Yeah, right? I apologize for their behavior.
What is slightly hard this morning, however, after your night of debauchery and yeah, I know the jokes, they're real.
So much harder.
Now, what is difficult this morning, however, is rolling out of bed. Something about the night has left you all a little bit spent, a little bit worse for wear. I am going to need from everybody.
Okay.
Actually, here's a question: how, besides Pyre, how many of you were drinking last night?
I had very little.
Couple drinks,
Yeah,
maybe.
Couple
Yeah.
drinks, maybe.
Yes.
I was dueling, hoping to get enough money to drink.
So no.
Very little.
No.
Moderate.
Okay,
Some
we'll say
less
yes for
moderate,
you.
normal for you.
No.
Yes.
And yes. Okay. So, Nyx. It was a bar.
Probably a mug.
For you, we'll say yes.
It comes in pints.
It comes in pints. So for Nyx, for Meyer, and for Elias, please make me a Constitution saving throw.
Does this count as poison?
Actually, yes.
Oh, good. I get advantage. Constitution saving throw.
Yes.
Oh, 17.
17. Okay.
13.
13.
10.
Nyx and Pyre. No, Nyx and
Meyer.
Meyer, Pyre. You can see why I was mixed up. You guys are definitely feeling the effects. You are hungover. You are not.
Of course.
Everyone else. Okay, so Gideon and Kai.
Oh boy.
I need a con save from you guys.
We're Thor.
And I'm going to need one from you too as well, Pyre, just because you stayed up late studying.
21.
You're good.
I got a 12.
You're sore. You are sore as heck from 2 fights,
Yeah, he
including
fought
one
2
where you
battles,
took
so-
hits you weren't expecting to take.
Right.
16.
16? You've had longer overnighters at the academy. You're fine. All right. So you all wake up, get yourselves going for the day. Most all of you are doing fairly well. Kai's a little sore. Nyx and Meyer.
Yeah.
The sun seems a little bit brighter this morning than it did yesterday, and somebody you swear is playing tom-toms right outside your window,
It's
just
the
bang,
cat.
just
It's such a
banging,
glorious
just
day
banging on
outside.
the
sun
drums,
is shining.
and they might even be playing inside your skull. You're not really 100% sure. The lot of you do get yourself together and go downstairs to have dinner in the common room, or breakfast rather, in the common room.
As I
Yes.
see Gideon, I say, that mind over body to overcome pain they teach you in a monk's monastery. It's always a bullshit.
Take an inspiration.
Yes, Kai, you are both sore and a loser.
Nah.
Oh. Okay. So it's taken you all about an hour to sort of get yourself together and get down for breakfast. About at this point, the sun has been up for a couple of hours. And as you are sitting down and as breakfast is being laid out before you, a gentleman walks into the common room. He is led by a young Shulton girl. You recognize her as the page that came and delivered the message late last evening about the meeting. She comes to your table, bows at you in a very northern fashion, so you're quite certain it's something that she has picked up from travelers from the north, and she gestures to the man with her. I present to you Merchant Prince Jobal. And she bows again, and then scurries away. She doesn't even wait for the coin that you would have given her. She just, so you get a sense that maybe that part of her bargain was already taken care of. The man before you is quite stately. He has not a regal bearing, but definitely approaching it. So he's someone you can tell who is a man of means and someone who is used to getting what he wants. And he slides into the seat at the head of the table, and he looks down the table at all of you.
I stand, of course, and bow.
With him, sort of just a step or two behind and to the right, is a relatively tall, imposing man with scars on his face. A man that you can tell is used to physicality and fisticuffs. He does have sort of this wide, multicolored sash across his chest, but otherwise he's bare-chested. He's got a wicked-looking one of the local weapons slung across his back. So it's the long staff that's got the ones you saw were obsidian tips. This one has actually been worked in steel and looks quite fine. You get the feeling it's probably much more expensive than what was getting sold in the marketplace. And he stands there and he crosses his arms across his chest and adopts the pose of a bodyguard.
Like Kai, I too bow.
Okay.
Hello, friends.
Hello. I was led to understand that you are setting off into the jungles.
That is indeed correct, sir.
You will, of course, be looking for a guide along your way.
Naturally.
Yes, we understand that you are the man who can provide that.
Indeed, I am. All reputable guides available on this continent report directly to me. There are those, and I would not recommend them, there are those who claim to be independent. More often than not, they are tricksters. More often than not, they are charlatans, and more often than not, their expeditions end in doom. I have a number of guides at your disposal, should you so wish them.
I do want to make an insight check to see if he's
Okay.
being honest about other guides or if perhaps
He's
he's just trying
If
to
he
make a sales
okay,
pitch.
make me your roll, please.
That is a 15.
A 15. Okay. It would be understandable. I mean, he's coming across as a straight shooter, and it would be within the realm of reason for him to be directing you away from competition. It's not to say that he's outright lying about their capabilities.
Okay. Thank you.
He's kind of a hard read,
Okay.
at least as far as that part goes.
Do you want to have any suggestions that you would suggest for us?
I have several suggestions, in fact. Yes. My man here, Azon, will gladly take you to meet with any one of them in the city. There are perhaps a half dozen that I know of off the top of my head that are, shall we say, between expeditions.
You are a powerful and rich man. I assume you are well informed.
I like to think so.
So I would also assume you know of the Blight and why we travel.
Of course, I have heard of it.
And you also know of the mission's great importance. We need your absolute best.
As I said, there are half a dozen guides within the city, any one of which would be of use to you.
If you were to go on an expedition, who would you trust?
Well, first of all, I would trust myself. I've been on many expeditions into the jungles. In fact, that was how I made my fortunes, my friend. However, those days are long behind me.
Does it look like these long days are behind him?
Right? Is he younger or older?
Middle-aged.
Middle-aged.
8.
Far as you know, he still looks like he's in his prime, but he also looks fairly comfortable with where he is in life too.
It's not that he's physically.
It's not that he's physically incapable. He's just
He's made
he's
his own.
past that.
Yeah.
He's made his peace with the world.
Well then,
Shall we go?
Yeah,
we
I
should
showed
go
my
check out
shingles.
potentials.
And I'm like, let us go.
Yes.
Oh, very well then, Azon. And the voice that comes out is just like deep and gravelly
Yes,
and barrel chested. Yeah, think
You want some cornbread, Mr. Jingles?
yeah, think what's his name?
Mr. T?
No.
Oh.
Clark No, I can't remember now.
Clark Duncan.
Michael Clark Duncan. That's the one. So that big. You do.
What's he in?
Green Mile.
Green Mile. Oh.
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah,
Jingles.
yeah.
I just did it.
Yes.
I'm an idiot.
So anyway, so think that, and he leans down and he gives a yes, sir. And take these people to the guides. Yes, sir. Give them what they need. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If we have no other business. No. One other teensy little trifle. I assume that you will, of course, be able to pay the customary fee for a guide.
Mistress Sylvain will be handling the payment.
Of course, of course.
If she wasn't before, she is now.
She totally agreed to it.
Well, odds are that
If
we
she's
come
still
if we
alive.
don't come back. So
So Joval stands, takes his leave, and Azon slides into the seat that he vacates and orders his own breakfast to have with you. During the meal, he doesn't say a lot. His focus is on his focus is on the meal and his drink, and he doesn't say just a whole lot.
What was happening on the table? I mean, it wasn't me.
So what are you guys doing?
We're following Ajon
Yep.
to the guide.
Onward.
during
Onward.
breakfast, I'm trying to convince Sploof to lend me his spell book so that I can copy. It's a 4.
Roll your persuasion against that 4.
Plus whatever her.
It's not great, but
I think
it's
it's
still
a minus
17.
to charisma.
It's a what?
My charisma's not great, but it was still a 17.
17.
That's
Yeah, 2.
I will get that to you at the end of the session.
Well, of course, Minion, we must share resources.
This is the nicest evil boss you've ever had.
yes, share.
I, of course, will want to see yours in return.
Certainly.
On a later date.
I'm just gonna say yes and let it be.
Fire's written everything in code.
Awesome. Okay, so after Azon has finished his breakfast, he stands and looks expectantly at the rest of you.
And I follow suit.
Yep.
None.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not keep it waiting.
Remind me of
Or sunshine.
Sunshine.
Sunshine's
Okay,
the spider.
so Sunshine is in the stables.
So we need to stop at the stables real quick. We've got to get sunshine. Can't leave without sunshine.
How big of a
I look up at the
that's
sky.
sunshine.
It is still pouring rain.
We'll be waiting a while, child.
I
Perhaps
Nice.
you are not the best wife for my son.
I put on
Oh,
the
it's your
straw hat.
You put on the straw hat I made for you.
So all has the straw hats. You do, and
I
you
do.
I have
Do
my
you tell me?
Jones.
I would
hat,
like
so.
one.
Okay, I start weaving him a straw hat.
All right, so
Because he
you're
wants
working
one.
on a hat for Mayor now.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Meyer.
Mayor, whatever.
Mayor.
Oscar Mayer.
Whatever.
Everyone will have like Asian conical straw hats by the time this campaign.
So it doesn't take you long to get Sunshine saddled up and ready. The rest of the horses in the stables are a little shy, little shy and a little bit reticent to come near anybody as long as that thing is in the stables with them.
How much webbing did it spend overnight?
Actually, not tons.
There's a horse cotton.
Not just enough for maybe a little bit of a nest for it to have curled up in and bedded down in overnight. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Imagine the
take some of
horses are
that.
just dead
As soon as
quiet.
we're ready to move out, I'm staying behind and I'm taking a couple of strands and actually the whale blubber that we have, I'm gonna try to encase it in there so that I can wrap it and keep it.
Okay. Make me a survival check.
Because that's a spell component. Actually, I'm not gonna use that one because that one rolls poorly.
So the chat is asking, how big is Sunshine?
Yes.
So how big is Sunshine?
I mean,
it's a giant spider. So
It's big enough.
It's
could
big
ride
enough-
big
it.
enough that I can
It's
a
a
gnome
large
can
creature.
ride it.
Are we
No,
talking
it's-
Harry
it's
Potter or Lord of the
medium-sized
Rings?
creatures.
okay, so it's a medium-sized
So it's a-
creature.
Oh, jeez, it's a
So
man
human
size
It's a human-sized spider. It's
Oh,
big enough
boy.
for a gnome to ride on.
It
So,
carries 180 pounds.
so yeah, it's a pretty big spider.
Hi, Chad.
11. Well, you think it worked.
Sweet.
See, we'll see. All right, so Azon is waiting for you guys at the front of the inn after you've retrieved sunshine. It is still raining relatively hard, although it's weird. You've very rarely seen times where it's been raining and sunny at the same time, but it's happening here.
Is there a rainbow?
Not yet. Not from this angle. It's coming in from the wrong direction. But it's, you get a sense that probably soon, maybe later. So the inn itself sits up on a little bit of a bluff, and it does overlook the harbor. Those of you who are looking that direction, you do see that there is a rather swift-looking vessel, pretty trim, that is pulling into the harbor at this point. Seems a little bit sleeker, a little bit faster than the one that you rode getting here. It's hard to, you can't see names, you can't see anything but figures on the deck at this distance. It's still pretty far out. But there's, a dozen or so sailors in the rigging tending to the ship as it pulls in. Seem to be a few passengers on board, 4 or 5 of them, from what you can tell. Can't get details at this distance, but
Does it get pulled underneath by a certain dragon?
no. I mean, it's inside the harbor at this point, so it's
safe.
It's safe at this point. Yes. Azon turns and he heads away from the harbor to sort of a market district, and there's a little shop just off of one of the sides of the market that sells just general supplies, just mundane supplies, and in the back you find a young woman seated at a table looking over some notes.
Yeah, sure. Hold on, I have prepared myself mentally for this. Shalanda, I've led many expeditions through the wilds of Shul. I know secret trails should appear on no map. Hire others at your own peril. Azaka and Iku have led expeditions into the jungle that have never returned. Farul and Gondolo are charlatans, plain and simple. Old Hugh suffers from mad monkey fever. I'm sure of it. Musharib is an albino dwarf, and they're not to be trusted. And I hear tell that River Mist and Flask of Wine owe money to the Jehentinim. 5 gold pieces per day is a cheap price to pay for your lives. Spend your gold wisely. So, don't trust albino dwarves. I'm assuming by the names we don't deal with tabaxis either. Well, maybe.
I take offense to that. Dwarves are very, very nice people.
I think dwarves are really nice.
I know, I happen to be one myself.
You have been nice to me so far.
But I've never met an albino dwarf before, so I don't know how cultured they are.
About this time, I put your hat on your head, and I cinch the slider up to your chin, and I say, "Perfect. It goes well with your dress."
Thank you, sir.
Also, about this time, the rain stops.
I still wear it.
Yeah, I'm wearing mine too.
So
So are we like reading this pamphlet?
Yeah,
Reading
like a
out
pamphlet,
pieces
man.
this is what we've been
about these-
told.
Okay,
Yeah.
Each guide has a brochure.
So
makes sense.
are these all of the people who? These are all the guides. Okay. So Ajaka and Iku have led expeditions that have never returned. So 50-50. Farul and Gondolo are charlatans, plain and simple. Show 25%. Old Hugh suffers from mad monkey fever, 30%. Mushurab is an albino dwarf, and they're not to be trusted, 75%. And I hear tell that River Mist and Flask of Wine owe money to to someone. So 75% on them. So it's all up to how we want to do this.
I think it would be wise to introduce ourselves.
Indeed.
And I'm going to, like make sure that Sploof is in front of me pretty much at all times.
Why, yes, the leader should be in front.
So I'm gonna say, Sploof, the other thing is as we speak to them, I need you to ask questions. They don't have to be on topic necessarily. Because, so basically, I'm trying to get Sploof to be the distraction. And then, would someone else please then, once a Sploof question has been made, would you ask something more leading? And I will attempt to divine further.
I don't understand what you want from me.
Just be yourself.
I can do that. I am Sploof the Mighty.
Yes, Sploof.
Ask if she's heard of you. Many have.
That's a good question.
So Sploof turns and runs off in front of you to the lady sitting at the table.
Alright, so the lady is Salida?
Yes.
Okay.
And Sploof jumps up on the chair across the table and leans forward.
Hi, I'm Sploof the Magnificent, Sploof the Mighty. Maybe you've heard of me.
The moment Sploof starts speaking, I pull out a copper piece and just start rubbing it and cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay.
And I'll just keep that as a running thing.
Is there any sort of save at all for that?
Let's see. For the duration, you can read the thoughts of certain creatures. When you cast the spell and as your action on each turn that the spell ends, you can focus your mind on any one creature that you can see within 30 feet of you. If the creature you choose has an intelligence of 3 or lower, or doesn't speak any language, the creature is unaffected. You initially learn the surface thoughts of the creature, what is most on its mind at that moment. As an action, you can either shift your attention to another creature's thought, blah, 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 blah. If you probe deeper,
Okay.
the target must make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, you gain insight into its reasoning, if any, its emotional state, and
So, but you're just looking for surface thoughts right now.
Yeah.
What does this Batiri want? No, I have not heard of Sploof. Who are you?
Why, I'm Sploof the Magnificent, of course. I am soon to take over the world. These are my minions.
Yeah.
I assume you've still got it up.
Oh, and I think actually they are aware. That's something else that's really important. They are aware that someone is probing their mind, I believe. Hold on.
Okay, so as Sploof is going off on his second tangent, her eyes come up and start flicking down the line at each of you. And they finally settle on you.
Semantic components, bitch.
They settle on Pyre, they settle on Nyx.
They settle on Pyre.
Okay.
It is not polite to poke in someone's mind.
Perhaps not polite, but definitely prudent, considering the nature of your business.
My business is to guide. There is a certain element of danger to that.
That there is. There's also a certain element of danger in lying.
So you say. I assume you are mounting an expedition.
We are. I beg pardon for my companion's coarse demeanor. He is a very practical and safe person.
It is nothing for now. Where in these strange jungles do such a eclectic group of adventurers have their sights set?
We're gonna go fix the really big problem that everybody's having right now.
Oh, and what is that, little
Everybody's
one?
dying.
Everyone is
Again.
always dying.
So
The problem is that they cannot be brought back once they die.
Ah, yes.
That too.
The aptly named Death Curse. You have a lead on it then?
yes,
We believe it is in the dark
we believe
city.
it's in the lost city of Omu.
Indeed.
I feel like we just walked in, we're like, yes, we're looking for El Dorado. Can you show us the way?
We're riding unicorns. Good luck.
Ignore.
Many have sought Omu over the years. None have ever found it. I say again, do you have a lead?
No.
Just a prayer.
Just a hope.
I see.
Providence seems to have brought us together. Perhaps the gods smile on us.
Secrets do not make friends.
Oh, very shuffle.
All he's gonna say is she's just sitting there like, what a bunch of idiots.
Probably what I would be thinking at this point.
We've heard of this place called Atlantis. Do you know where that is?
Really?
The lost city of gold, please.
Well, this is only one collective of guides, so we have multiple other people, so.
That's true.
This is only
We've
one
got more
guide.
pamphlets to read, guys.
Oh
Yes.
boy.
I'm assuming.
Which would be fun as I read them.
Oh, I probably bumped the mic. Sorry, everybody.
Oh.
All right. So that's done.
So let's go check the other guides.
We're not done with this one.
Yeah, we're not done.
Oh, are we not?
No.
What more do you have to glean from this woman?
Perhaps the gods smile upon us.
Perhaps, but I would need a little more assurance of that fact.
Do you?
Tell me, what was the last event of any luck, one way or the other, that occurred to any of you?
And her eyes land right on you.
Yes, is there something specific that she's wanting?
She's just looking at
just,
you. It's just her gaze has landed on you.
There was the tomb with the two dead Chinese twins. There was the one with the mummy that turned out not to be a mummy, but was just Old Man Jenkins.
The point is all of us here have tasted death.
Nothing since you've arrived here in our fair city.
No, but I do.
Roll your deception, please.
Yeah.
This is a good roll, but I have a negative to charisma, so that's a 12. We've,
She doesn't believe you.
Shocker.
Shocker!
Shocker.
Oh, come now. You've had nothing happen to you unusual since you arrived?
Oh, and now that you mention it, we did have an incident where some barrels fell on me, and it was...
And she turns her face, as he's continuing his story, she turns her eyes
And was reported...
back to you, and, eyebrows raised, and just gestures.
We have all tasted death and have been brought back.
Yes, but I would not call that luck. I would not call that necessarily touched by the gods. That is the work of man.
As powered by whom?
None of us have died since we got here.
Perhaps you're right.
That's good.
Perhaps your spirit is not as adventurous as we had presumed, and others could use our 5 gold per day. Good day, ma'am.
So even if the rest of them are walking the way, I'm going to stay here because I have some questions.
Yeah, no time.
How many people have come through here looking for the lost city?
Oh, the stories, of course, say many, many. And it is a history that reaches back eons. In my own lifetime, I know of perhaps a dozen companies that have gone looking for Omu. None have returned from the jungles to tell what they found or did not find.
That doesn't sound like a particularly unusual fate for many of these companies.
It is not. I will grant you.
I'm waiting on thoughts on that. About
She,
the same?
I mean,
The
she's
same?
being very careful with her thoughts, but there is truth behind what she has said. A dark truth.
And have you led any of these expeditions?
Would I be sitting here if I had?
Perhaps. You have other companions who have led expeditions which hadn't returned, but they themselves are here.
Companions is a strong word. We share a vocation. I would not... not even that, colleagues. We do the same thing. We are all in it for ourselves, shall we say. And yeah, she's shooting straight with you on that.
And I'm actually just going to go ahead and drop the spell at that point.
Okay.
How far into the jungles have you ranged?
Oh, quite far. I've been as far as the Aldani Basin.
Blank face.
That is not on our
pull
map.
out the map.
Yeah, we got a map.
that we have. Would you mind possibly showing us about how far in that would be?
Where in this blank space would that be?
According to this map. As you can see, this map has quite a bit unmarked, and any bit of information could be
Much to be desired.
useful.
We don't have, we know where a basin is.
Oh boy, we know where a basin is.
Hey, it's a start.
So, she leans forward as you unroll the map, and she gestures sort of in this vicinity. It would be about here.
And let's see, where is the port?
The port is right here.
About how many days travel to get there?
We can take the river
Oh,
halfway.
by canoe, it's a little more than a week.
We
So I fear time is of the essence.
Would you be willing
Yeah,
to go
we
in
get 7
further?
hit points.
Do you feel as though your target is further in?
I know not.
I think it's probably a fair assumption, considering it hasn't been found.
What was the basin called again?
Aldani, Aldani. Should you hire me, you hire me for 30 days.
At the end of which
plenty of
time,
There's an option for an extension.
Assuming we're not all dead.
30 days is a long time.
Granted.
We'll all be dead.
So how? Okay. Never mind. Everybody, make me a perception check at disadvantage.
Disadvantage.
Disadvantage,
That's
yes.
actually the exact same.
I got a 20.
I got 2 10s, so it's a 14 on my
That
card.
would be a 17.
It's
17?
a non-natural.
15.
15?
9.
9.
16.
16?
13.
13. Okay, so you're. I've got a 20. So Jordan's got a 20,
Non-natural.
non-natural.
Yeah.
Seth's got a
17.
17. Just hits it. You missed
15.
it. You missed it.
I missed it.
And you missed it. So I'll take the two of you.
Me and Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So maybe what we can do.
D&D Beyond.
No, we're not sponsored yet.
Oh, right.
No
If you'd like to
affiliation.
sponsor us.
No affiliation.
so we've met one of the guys.
Maybe we should just
Who,
see who's gone the furthest.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I don't
I'll
know.
just-
I mean, if they went that far in and managed to come back.
So she says she has.
It's not
lots
really
of-
impressive if you manage to
she
come
says
back
she
if you're
has-
the one who killed everyone you took out.
Yeah.
So she says she has lots of various secret ways, and then she's also slandered the rest of them to favor herself.
That's business.
I'm more inclined to figure out why old Hugh has mad monkey fever.
Of course you are.
Well, if you would like to ask Q himself.
I
We
think
shall see. She appears. Well, she says she's the cheapest, so it depends on how we wish. to
No,
go.
she says 5 gold a day is a cheap price for our lives. She does not say she is the cheapest.
Okay.
And I don't know the cheapest option, especially where we're not paying the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
You'll find that most every guide will charge you the same price. It is the price that has been, shall we say, aggressively enforced by Jobal.
Okay. Shall.
Well, thank you so much for talking
Keep
to
doing
us.
it,
We're gonna
shall
look
we?
around a little bit, and we'll come back and let you know what we decide.
Of course. You are a cute one. Good day. And she turns to the mug that's sitting on the table, and it's Tej. You can tell by the smell. And she takes a long draft of it as you guys are turning and walking out.
I roll up the map and stow it away.
Okay.
I like her.
I think I do it.
So
I
head to
look
the
over.
Azon.
Yeah,
She can hold her liquor.
Aegon.
Have you ever seen a map like this?
I have not, no.
You just seem to have a look of mild surprise or perhaps even recognition.
Mild.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It was quite noticeable to me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Insight check.
If you give yourself more space,
That's a good point.
Yes.
you might be able not to cock it.
Oh, that's an 18.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's gonna be. One moment.
What do you do?
That's a 19.
Something's a little off with how he responded to it.
On to the next guide.
If you can help us with this, we could use it.
I don't know what you mean.
I think you do.
That's my zone of truth.
I'm taking you to the guides. I'm not sure what more help you are looking for.
The map. What surprised you about the map?
I wasn't surprised. And he turns and starts off down the street.
We have a guy who can probe thoughts.
For only a certain amount of
We
time.
don't know that.
Yeah.
Show the next stop.
So
Next
the
guide.
the next stop is a place you're all familiar with. It is the Thundering Lizard.
Oh.
And back in the sort of deep, dark corner that you, Hadrian, were in last night at the gambling table, you see a couple of faces that you recognize. They are a couple of the players from last night. A couple of the losing players from last night.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Oh, good, I don't have to read this one.
It's going to Seth, who's going?
Yeah, you can. Whoever wants it, but we'll give it to Seth this time.
Why pay for one guide when you can have two for the same price? We have the smarts, the goods, and our own Triceratops. And this is Ferrule and Gondolo. Treasure abounds. When we're done leading you to all the ancient sites and sacred places that we know of, you'll be swimming in gold and magic. All the other guides will lead you in circles and make you do all the work. Don't be fooled. When we return to Port Nyanzaru, you will have enough tales and fortunes to last a lifetime. Our price is 5 gold pieces per day with a 30-day payment up front, but we're glad to reduce our rate for equal shares of any treasure found.
I like him.
Them.
Yeah.
I feel like that tells me more about you than it does about them.
So it's a man and a halfling?
Yeah, basically. So Ferrule, who is the human, is about 5'10", 175. His clothes are of a fine make, a fine cut, although a little bit starting to get a little frayed around the edges. The halfling is 3'6", and a very sort of floppy 80 pounds. It's almost like he was maybe a little rotund at one point and isn't so much anymore. So he's got the folds that you can see, folds around his collar. He, like his friend, is a little bit threadbare, but the clothes were once pretty nice.
The place they're sitting, is it obvious that gambling happens here?
Yeah, it actually is.
And how are you fine gentlemen doing this morning? It was a pleasure playing with you last night.
It would have been more of a pleasure if we'd been able to hang on to a little of our gold,
I understand
and
that.
a little of yours as well.
I understand that feeling
but-
all too well.
It is a fine enough morning. And as the rest of you crowd around the table, Ferrule sort of looks beyond you and he sees Azon and says, potential customers, I see. Looking to head off into the wilds and find your fortunes.
Something like that, yes.
Something along that lines.
Well, we know all the best places to go for that, don't we?
Including a certain lost city?
Oh, there's tons of lost cities out there. Which one are you asking about?
Omu.
Umu.
His face is kind of frozen, and it's like you can almost see the panic behind his eyes. Oh yeah, been to Olmu a million times.
Insight check.
I will give it to you. He is lying out of his ass.
At that. I'm just like, nope, sorry. We appreciate the offer, but I don't think we'll be needing your services. I'm gonna turn around and go to Azon and be like, lead on.
Thank you for your time, sirs.
There is a danger in lies, and I'll turn and walk away.
So what's the farthest you've gone in?
Oh, we've been all the way to the southern coast.
In a ship.
Yeah. Even I'm not going to believe that. I'm leaving.
Wait, don't go. We've got a map. We've got a map to a. We've got a map to a. Oh.
I do. I like maps.
At that point, you guys are already out the door.
Well, if you said map.
You can turn around and go back.
Hold on, I
You
have
trust
to do
someone who says that they've been to a ancient city which no one has been to in
Yeah, but I might get a look at the map.
eons.
Might be a fake map.
I
Yeah,
highly
I'm
doubt-
going back to see.
Okay.
I'm going back to see the map.
Okay. We don't keep it on us, obviously, for obvious reasons. But
Turn down.
I-
One way.
Gondolo, go get the map. Go get the go. And the little gnome like hops down and scurries to the stairs and up the stairs. And you hear the pitter patter of feet as he disappears down the hallway.
You can forge a map.
And he's only gone like a minute or so, and you hear him coming back and running just as fast as his little feet can carry him.
Okay.
And he's holding the map over his head and plops it down on the table in front of you.
Okay. What does it look like? Oh.
Make me an investigation check.
Yeah. I'm decent at these. I am an archaeologist.
Actually, no. Make it a history check.
Oh. Give me. Oh, it's still the same. 12.
12? Okay.
Oh.
It's obviously very old parchment paper.
Oh, by the way, as an archaeologist, is it more than a century old? And what is its monetary value?
You're an archaeologist.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It is older than a century.
Can you copy it?
Now, the map itself is not worth that much because it is simply just a parchment with the map on it. But it is authentically old.
Okay.
Something said about that.
As you roll it out, it shows a sort of crude hand-drawn line map that leads away from Port Nyanzaru into the deeper part of the jungle.
Okay.
Is the Forbidden City on it?
The Forbidden City is not on it. However, there is, and I've got to find. Gotta find the spot on the map.
Yeah.
It's a location called Needle's Bones.
Needle's bone?
Needle's Bones. Yes.
Where does Needle's bones
Okay.
reside
On your map.
on said map?
Right there.
So okay.
Kiss a bat.
Okay.
Did you?
Gentlemen, you certainly have intrigued me. I shall go to the rest of my party and put a very strong case in for you to suggest that we hire you. You seem to know what you're doing.
Oh, Any help at all would be very grateful. We'd be grateful for it.
Okay. And then I.
You're gonna turn
Yep.
and leave.
Yep.
Okay.
Leave never to
What took so
return.
long?
Hmm?
Why? What took you so long?
Oh, I.
As you exit the Thundering Lizard, you realize that you're gonna have to run to catch up to the rest of the party because they didn't stop
That's fine.
for you.
Mm.
So it's like, excuse me, pardon me, pardon me, excuse me, excuse me,
30 feet
excuse
of
me.
movement.
Any more random barrels falling?
No, but
Oh boy!
Here came.
Blinkety.
Oh, here comes the glass.
Ain't no
Glass
glass.
there is no glass in the city. Make me an insight check.
Insight check?
Mm-hmm.
6.
Never mind. Okay.
Mm.
All right. So you catch up to your party after a minute or two of running.
Is all his money gone?
Oh.
Tourist.
No, I wouldn't think of that. Okay. We shall continue on.
All right. After a few moments, actually, everybody make a perception check real quick.
Telling me.
That will be a nat 20.
Natural 20, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
that
Oh,
was
that was mean.
11.
It's you're just you're just still in awe of all the colors around you. And in Jordan, that was an 8. Yeah, you're also drawn into sort of the hustle and bustle of the city around you. You're not used to all of the everything that's going on. Steven?
23.
23, nice.
11.
Nothing much, it's like many cities you've been in. It's just got a little bit more rustic feel to it.
15.
15. Lot of interesting smells. Foods and spices you're not familiar with, wafting on the breeze. The smells from the jungle sort of permeating the air, mixing with the sea air. The oppressive heat starting to build in for the day after the rainstorm from this morning. Braden?
10.
10?
10.
Pretty much the same
Yeah.
as him. For a natural 20
Yes.
and a 23, the two of you do catch sight of your tabaxi friend, Brightpaw, down one of the side sort of thoroughfares, speaking with two other tabaxi.
I will sneak on over and see if I can listen in on the conversation.
Sneaky.
Sneaky.
Sneaky sneak.
Sneak. And
Sneaking with the 25 stealth.
25 stealth, okay. You can be sneaky for sure. Let me look up something here real quick on Curie's sheet.
If you wrote the pages during the session zeros, she wasn't there.
Give me 1 second here, guys. And this is one of the reasons why I have all your character sheets.
See if you can roll good. Probably roll better than I could.
Ooh. There we go.
So what did everyone think of Shalida as an option?
The second
The
guy?
chick.
Oh,
Because I know what you all feel about Ferul and...
So, Hadrian,
so far she's the best.
do you understand Thieves' Cant?
I do indeed.
Interesting. Okay. You overhear a conversation that sounds like bartering, almost as though she's attempting to hire them as guides. You do catch the names. You do catch the names
River mist and flask of wine.
River and flask, certainly. You can assume that they're shortened versions of the rest.
Of whom we were told to just not trust. Right?
Well, we were told that they owe money to the Zentaro,
It is Zentaro.
Which is
So,
which I assume most of us would know who that is.
most of you would, perhaps.
Wonder how much they owe.
But I mean, it seems to be the sort of conversation you've been having all morning, trying to find a guide as well. There's actually make me an insight check.
That would be a nat 20.
Natural 20. Okay. There's a little bit. There's a little bit of hostility actually from River and Flask toward Bright. And it's only very thinly masked. It's like it's like they recognize that they're in public and they need to be civil, but they're like right at that edge. They're pushing the bounds of what is proper and making words cutting and snide comments and signs that are obviously about something negative aspersions on her character, let's say.
What's her name again?
Brightpaw.
Brightpaw. Oh, Brightpaw, there you are, I say as I first step out of the crowd.
And she sort of she jerks and her tail fluffs up. The hackles on the back of her neck sort of go up, and she comes like that close to actually hissing at you.
I tried to hide the fact that I was listening in.
River
it's
and
not
Flask.
going to be very good with the 7.
River and Flask dart away in opposite directions.
What's going on?
None of you
even
guys
know he's
knew
gone.
he's
Yeah.
even gone. He just sort of slipped away from you guys.
Well, so why, pray tell, who are our friends there so hostile?
It's a long story, and frankly, I'm not sure I want to tell it yet. And she pushes past you down the street.
Alright.
She's actually going in the direction you came back from, just randomly.
There's no chance I'm catching a tabaxi
No.
on the foot. I sort of keep in my mind what they look like and go off and just sort of move a little bit more stealthily through the street. Not necessarily trying to be particularly sneaky, but going through places that'd be harder to notice me.
Okay.
With a 15.
15? Okay. As you're going, I will take an investigation.
Investigation will be a 9.
Okay. All right.
So who's next on the agenda? Or the itinerary?
Musharib.
Oh,
So Azon leads you to a rather neatly kept little duplex. On one side there is a family of gnomes. The little kids are out playing in the yard. They all ooh and ah over you and your spider when you guys come rolling by.
Oh look, new boyfriends.
And they all sort of wave back and giggle before their mom calls them back in. She seems a little less enthused that you guys are in the neighborhood, and she calls the kids in and closes the door, perhaps a little too firmly behind them. Azon walks up to the door, next door, and knocks. And it's a long moment. As you're standing there, you do take the brochure from the door.
I read it. Usharib. The jungle is my home. I know it well. I can guide you anywhere in Colt for a fee of 5 gold pieces a day. If adventure is what you seek, join my quest to reclaim Hakama, my clan's ancestral forge. A volcanic eruption forced us to abandon it many years ago. The fire newts that have since taken over must be driven out or destroyed. At the very least, we must sneak in and recover a relic known as Moradin's Gauntlet. The fire newts must not be allowed to keep it. If you love dwarven kind, then hear my plea and join me in returning Hakama to its rightful owners. I will waive my fee for your promise of assistance.
Well, as wonderful as that sounds, he has an agenda of his own. I think that's a pass.
It might be worth at least talking to him. I'm not sure how reliable the other guides will be.
That's
But I
fair.
definitely
Explain more
agree.
about this gauntlet.
I like him.
So
He helps us
about the
first.
time, Azon
It's
knocks
a
one more
essence.
time.
In our journey, though.
Azon knocks one more time, and you hear the thuds of sturdy dwarven feet coming towards the entryway. I'm coming, and the door opens, and about eye level with you two, and
He's a tall
a little bit tall for you, and dwarf sized for everyone else. Is
boots on, so I'm
this
taller.
very sort of albino colored dwarf, and he locks eyes with the two of you, and excitement paints itself all over his face. Ah, yes, this is a good day. Good fellow dwarves, you've come to aid me in reclaiming my ancestral home, yes?
Well, that remains to be seen.
No.
And he acts like he doesn't hear you at all.
Ah, yes, the one with the speech impediment must be.
My good sir, we have a quest of our own as well.
Yes?
Possibly could help each other out.
Ah, and what's your quest?
We are seeking the lost city of... What was it?
Omu.
Omu.
Oh, that is quite a quest. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know where Omu is. I've heard the rumors, such as anyone else.
How far have you been in?
I've been a half week's journey into the jungles.
Just to,
That's not very far.
just for my own, for wondering, where is Harakmahar? Where?
For a dwarf, your dwarven sure is bad.
It's in the Cobalt Mountains down to the southwest.
Right.
Dwarven's his second language.
About how many days travel would that be?
Well, overland, I'd say probably need to plan on at least 12, maybe 13 days. 2 weeks to be safe. However, if you're an adventuring sort, there are passes through the mountains from the coast.
And how many days would that be?
Oh, it's a long 2 days by sail.
How old is this guy?
Make me an insight check. hard to say.
Dwarf age.
He's a dwarf, so they
Probably
live a
looks
little
older
bit
than both
longer.
of us.
He looks older than both of them, but maybe that's just his coloring. It's hard to tell because his hair's white, his skin's white, everything's white. His eyes are that sort of albino
The albinic.
blue.
Oh, okay.
If I had to guess,
He does have a leathery skin. Looks like maybe he spent some time at a forge fire in an earlier part of life, but it's really hard to tell.
So when you say fire nooch, what do you exactly mean?
Well, they're fire newts, of course.
Newts that are on fire.
And what is the Moradin Gauntlet?
You do know Moradin, yes.
Yes, the god of the forge.
Of course. He gifted our clan with, in antiquity, he gifted our clan with a gauntlet of wondrous power. It's said that the wearer could do most anything with it.
Sorry.
Now, I'm not sure if I
drooling.
believe those stories, but there you go.
Elias has wondering eyes. It's very profitable.
How often do you travel into the jungle?
Well, I've not been in 2 or 3 moons, but before that, I probably had 5 or 6 expeditions in the course of a month.
And why the sabbatical?
Well, I've been healing up, so to say.
Are you fit for an expedition?
If you're willing to help me with my quest, I'm hearty and raring to go.
So you wouldn't go with us unless we went and looked for your gauntlet thing?
Oh, well, I'd go with you if you'd paid me with the gold. I'm willing to waive that if you want to help me out.
I want to message you, say, can't you message? Yes. So, 2 things. Either we go with him, take this gauntlet, and use on our quests, or he helps us, and then we just kind of ghost him.
Alright, so I have a question.
You're a good character, remember?
I have a question for everyone. Have we all established, do we all know that everyone else in the party is slowly dying every day?
I think we
Yeah.
I think
figure that out?
I think it's
Shall I-
kind of.
But this is good. We get 2. It will take us like a week to get here, whereas 2 days and get here by Shale, and then
We
go
don't have any
that
idea
way.
where we're going. That's like
Yes, but then we would be farther
Make a
in.
direction and go.
So,
And then
in
just
response
head
to
west.
your message, I'm going to say, well, seeing as how we don't actually know where this city is, and we're sort of pressed for time, I don't know if we can delay to help him on his quest. I mean, perhaps afterwards, but I am feeling the effects of this curse rather keenly.
Well, that's what I mean. He helps us first, and then we may not get to his.
Maybe, but he hasn't seen much of the jungle, it doesn't sound like, nor is he particularly versed in how to survive it. He's more adventurer looking for party. So, I mean, we'll keep him in mind, but I'm
Fair
not
enough.
really a big fan.
Fair enough. I like him, but fair enough.
Shame.
Do we get a sense
That was
of
the
what
message.
class he might be off of him? Or any of them, actually?
Not really. I mean, very few of them have been in full kit, so it's not really easy to tell what their skill set might be.
And how would you define your expertise?
Oh, well,
It was all about dwarves. And he didn't look at dwarf places.
Like many fiery-blooded dwarves, I tend to fly into a blind rage at times, and I've a very deep connection with my ancestors, if that helps.
That does help.
that just became a lot more I just became a lot more interested in that dwarf.
So I like this guy a lot. Is she the other options before we?
See, you can also make us weapons. Forge weapons.
He's not taking the forge with him.
Well, we appreciate your time. We have a few more people to talk to before we make a decision, but we'll definitely keep you in mind. And regardless, good luck on your quest.
Thank you.
I bow at him.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
As
And
I
he'll shake your hand, and he'll shake your hand, and once he's done that, he turns and he closes the door.
so
I
as-
like him.
As we go, I do say, I much prefer someone who can keep their head about them. I don't know about you gentlemen, but someone who is a scout of sorts.
He certainly seems less of a guide and more of a someone in need of a. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Before we go anywhere, Keith, can I go talk to? I want to go knock on the door to the gnome house next door.
Okay.
Before you do, I do say, I happened to meet our friends Flask and
River.
River. Yes, thank you.
I'm gonna look behind me. Did I miss a stop?
They seem to be quite skittish, very connected with the underworld, with the underground, and rather not kindly inclined to our acquaintance Brightfur, or Brightpaw.
Well, they are
Good
an
to know.
option that we have. We don't necessarily have to take them, but it's something to. Oh, skittish, yes.
I think that's a no.
It is difficult working with criminals.
Possibly, but you did say that
I
you
will
wanted
not
the
go
rogue
there.
type,
Okay.
No,
the sneaky
the
type.
the scout type. I want a purveyor of the land.
Okay. While you guys are having that conversation, you go and knock on the door.
Ranger type.
So next, you do see Gideon walk over and knock on the gnome door.
I assume it's a gnome-sized door.
Actually, no. It's
a
a full
full-size-
size door. The handle's a little low.
I walk up with you.
The door opens and it is the matron of the house. Yeah.
How if I went down on one knee, would we be eye level? How much taller am I?
You'd still be about a half a head taller than she is.
Okay, that's-
Nyx is right about at eye level.
I'll go down on one knee then, so we're more
Okay.
eye
Yeah.
level. Hi, I couldn't help but notice you seemed a little concerned when our party came by to talk with Musharib.
Well, wouldn't you be? All you fancy adventuring types traipsing through the neighborhood all the time.
How often do people come by to see him?
Well, he's been out of work for a couple of months, so I mean he's on the mend, but he's starting to have a little bit of foot traffic. It's getting a little annoying.
I could see how that could be annoying. Do you know much about Musharib? He seems like an interesting dwarf.
Yeah, he's been always been a good neighbor. Keeps his place tidy.
And how many different groups of adventurers has he worked with? Do you know?
Oh, it's been a while. He hasn't been out for a couple of months, but it was every week or so there for a little while.
And you wouldn't happen to know the fate of his partners, would you?
He's never talked much about him. I get the sense most of them got back just fine. Last one was a little rough. He came back pretty banged up. I think they all came back pretty banged up. But they all came back.
And that is good. Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
And
of
I'm going
course,
to
of
hand her a
course.
silver piece.
Oh,
And then go.
thank you.
Thank you for the information. It's nice to see a friendly face.
She gets a gleam in her eye, and she reaches back around behind the door, and she whips out
a piece of red ribbon and hands it to you.
I pull out one of my pieces of blue cloth.
Oh.
Be careful.
You too.
Apparently that's a gnome ritual.
Yes, it
Apparently.
is now.
Who's next?
Follow me. And Azon takes you through sort of a ritzy district. The houses here are a little bit more upscale, a little bit more colorful than you've seen. But you keep going right through the neighborhood, and you start back down the hill towards the towards the wharf district. There is a small shrine right outside what looks to be a temple of some sort. And in the shrine, you do find a Shulton lady sitting, legs crossed, eyes closed, seems to be sort of breathing in time with the waves washing in and out of the harbor. Who wants it?
While the lure of pillaging the antiquity of Chult is a temptation, I appeal to those who find fulfillment in doing actual good in the world. I seek to rid the jungle of evil. There are many ruins and ancient temples that must be reclaimed so that the spirits of nature can return to their sacred places and live in peace. There are evil impostors who seek to blind you with promises of gold, but will only guide your throats to their blades. My rates are standard, 5 gold pieces a day with a 30-day payment up front. A small portion goes to pay off the merchant prince Jabal. The rest I give to charity.
Who is this? Iku.
I like her.
You like them all.
Azon, can we go to the next one?
No. Let's see what our options are.
And see if she'll tell us something else about Jamap.
Right. This is as much an investigation as it is.
Very
It
charitable.
just sounds like she hugs trees all the time.
Well, and she may know about the land, which is exactly what I would like.
What color is your kettle? Mine is black. Anyway.
Why do you want to pass?
What?
Go on. If you're going to question her, do so.
Are you holding back?
What's that?
Are you holding back
I'm gonna sit with
Azon?
Azon, yeah.
Okay. So the rest of you, as the rest of you approach, you do hear her sort of wispy, earthy voice from her. She hasn't even turned around. She hasn't given an outward sign that she has recognized your presence. But she does call out, "I'll be with you in a moment."
So I don't know if I can do this, but just like the whole time we're here talking to her, I just want a general insight check to see like how sincere is she with this whole, like I'm just here to do good sort of vibe. Is this like a front she puts on, or is this actually who she is?
Okay, make that roll.
It's a 5.
Okay.
She is evil.
No one can be this good.
She stands up, and it's like one fluid motion. One minute she's on the ground, the next minute she's standing up, and it's not entirely clear how she transitioned from one state to the other. And the same motion has her spin completely around 180 degrees to face you as you approach her. What can I do for you, my children?
We're going out on an expedition,
What? Right.
and we're find a good guide.
Well, I don't know that I'm a good guide, but I am good, and I am a guide. So if you'd be happy with that.
What does that mean?
How far into the jungle have you traveled?
Oh, I've traveled long and far through these woods. Some of them quite harrowing miles, I must tell you.
What would you say is the farthest point you've ever tread?
Oh, I've been around the coast to, I've been around the coast as far as Refuge Bay to the east, and down to the Snout of Ogmar to the south.
And that was all along the coast?
Yes.
Traveled?
Yes. I've been up and down most of the rivers of this land. I've swung from trees. It's quite exhilarating, I must tell you.
So you are a good guide.
What race is she again?
She is a Shulton woman. She's just a human.
Human. Okay.
She's just high. As a kite.
Actually, make me an insight check.
I don't like her.
11.
Yeah, she's just a Shulton woman.
There is a city that we are looking for that we hope you could potentially take us to.
Well, what city is that?
What's it called?
The lost city of Omu.
Yes.
Eventually we'll have it all memorized.
The lost city of Omu.
Oh, that is quite the adventure, yes. I've never been there myself.
Seems no one has.
Can I insight check her to see if she's never been there?
Make the roll. Make the insight
Take
check.
it, buddy.
Oh! Well, it's 19.
19. She has never been to Omu.
Okay.
Nobody has.
So with my 5 insight, does this seem like a facade, or does this seem like the genuine thing?
She's coming across as fairly genuine to you. So
So do you spend much time out in the jungle? You're familiar with sort of the ways to survive there?
when I can, yes. I've often gone off just by myself into the jungle to spend long bouts and make sure that my skills are honed.
What skills would those be?
Well, survival skills, of course.
Such as?
Well, knowing where fresh water is, for one. Knowing which berries are edible and which aren't, for another. That sort of thing.
Would you be able to help us avoid difficult terrain and such things?
I believe I could, yes.
Oh, I like her. Are you skilled in combat?
Oh, God, goodness, no. I try to avoid it whenever possible.
Paladin of Redemption.
Maybe a paladin.
So,
Moving on.
we have somewhat of a map, and can you give us any just odd shites? Maybe perhaps things that aren't on our map that could aid us.
Oh, well, I'm not.
Brayden's like, will you fill out the map for me, please?
Oh, hi.
Try to get as many
Well,
points as I can.
please!
well, I have heard stories of an odd floating rock known as the Heart of Uptau. I've spied it from a distance. I've never been there myself, of course. There is there's the Firefinger dreadful place. I wouldn't even bother with it. Wouldn't worry with it. And I believe once, from a great distance, mind you, I believe I actually saw the wreckage of some type of airship.
It's our old characters.
What if we restored the airship?
None of us are.
Use it for travel.
I don't know if any of us are carpenters.
Let's find one.
Any specific area these things are, or
Oh, they're all over the map.
right?
Pull out the map.
Yeah.
Just set these here for.
Well,
It is.
we thank you for your time. We have a few more people to interview before we make a decision.
Of course.
I do
Pleasure
have
meeting
one,
you.
I do have one more question.
Yes.
It seems you are a pacifist, and yet you are in those woods,
Yeah.
deep in them quite frequently.
Yes.
How do you survive without taking life?
Well, it is regrettably sometimes necessary.
Of course.
But a single person can more often than not hide from danger, where a larger group, and she pointedly looks at the 8 of you that actually came down, well, 7 of you that actually came down, larger groups are sometimes harder to hide,
Understand.
let's say.
When you find yourself in that regrettable situation where you must take life, what is your strategy?
To be the last one standing.
What weaponry?
Whatever I have at hand.
You are hard to get an answer from.
Yes, it's a cultivated air. I work on it quite a long time.
Well,
Leaving.
perhaps we shall
Okay.
return.
Yeah.
Let me guess. Next.
Yes.
All right.
I start playing my bagpipes as we walk to the next one, just because.
Oh, it's so good.
Make me a performance check.
Oh yeah, I guess I don't know. If
It's
good yet.
maybe so good.
It's maybe
Might
so
be.
good.
So good, that one.
Oh,
14.
14. Yeah, it's all right.
that is pretty good.
It's all right.
I've certainly heard far worse tunes.
So,
Yeah, like that
really-
tambourine.
That was quite horrible.
That cat had the beat of a 2-year-old without arms.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
It's disturbing.
So Azon leads you on to a small sort of dockside tavern near the waterfront. This time of day, there are sailors coming and going from various ships that are in the port. He leads you in. It's dark inside, so your eyes take a moment adjusting to the dimness inside. It's a little grimy, little bit, I won't say run down, but it's definitely on the seedier side of the spectrum as far as public houses go. Out in the middle of the floor, there is a solo Shulton woman sitting at a table. She's got a small stack of gold coins in front of her, and it is sitting atop a sheaf of papers. She's got one sheet, looks like from the stack out, and is reading over it as you approach her.
give this one to Lance this time.
If you need a guide to get you through the jungle alive, look no further. I was born in the jungle, molded by it. I know its dangers well and how best to avoid them. Should you choose me, you may rest assured that your party is in safe hands. I charge 5 gold coins per day and require a 30-day payment up front. For those adventurers who aid me in a personal quest, I will waive my fee and guide them to places no one else has found.
What's the
Name?
personal question?
Hang on. This quest will take us to Firefinger. The evil Petrafolk that roost atop Firefinger stole a wooden mask from me, and I want it back.
Terrafolk.
Oh, Terrafolk. My bad.
Pterodactyl.
Terrafolk?
You think darkness is your ally?
Yes.
And this is Azaka Stormfang.
Ooh, that's an awesome name. I like her.
That is a really cool name.
That is an awesome name.
Azaka Stormfang.
I mean, if we're hiring someone based off of a name here.
I like her.
That's the one.
You like everybody.
Player consistency.
So where is Firefinger?
We don't know yet.
We don't know.
Nate, make me a perception roll.
Right.
If you fail, then
Okay.
you'll be known as Nick from now on. You are the Nick that says Nick.
I'll use my bardic inspiration.
You can't use it on yourself.
You can-
Oh,
You have to give that
right,
to other
right.
people.
You did just get an inspiration, though.
Oh, yes, I did. I'll use my inspiration. Ten.
Well,
There's one better than the last one.
Okay.
improvement is improvement.
So you do see the dagger that's flashing out aimed at your bagpipe. Now make me a dexterity roll. Make dexterity save.
Bagpipe! Roll high!
Oh no!
One.
So you try to dodge out of the way and you trip over a broken chair leg and actually wind up lunging into the slash, and the bladder on your bagpipe is ripped from one end to the other.
My hand goes to my sword. My thumb presses up on the hilt of my sword, popping it slightly out of its sheath.
Okay. Make me a perception check.
That would be a 23.
23. You recognize that face.
Oh.
That face was unconscious last night.
Oh. The dude I dueled?
Yep.
Oh.
And not only that, he's got friends.
Oh, good. You want a round 2?
Do I see this? Do I recognize them?
Yeah, you would as well. You'd recognize the guy that you fought at least. The friends, not so much.
Oh boy.
It's time to
How many friends?
10.
10.
It's time
Oh,
to fight.
It's time to duel.
No.
Run away?
No. You want a round 2, I see.
No.
Your forehead looks swollen. How are you feeling?
I don't want no round 2. I want my money back.
You entered of your own will. I have a witness.
You're the one who bet the money.
If you bet, be prepared to lose.
I want my coin.
Please. There's no need for this to come any further. Leave now. You lost a fair bet. Before you lose more than just that. And with that, I will do an intimidation check
Okay.
of 19.
19. Let me see.
And as I say it, that sore blackish patch on my face actually sort of spreads over to my other eye.
I ain't done with you. And he turns.
Would you like it just us?
It's like he says his piece and he turns and he sort of nods at his buddies and they walk out.
Good choice.
It is a wise decision. Put some ice on that.
Schultz?
Ice and Schultz.
My bagpipe.
The last one through the door it just sort of backs through, keeping an eye on all of you. And once he's out, he spins and he runs off.
I'm gonna walk over to Meyer.
What material is your bagpipe made out of?
I can only,
Bagpipe material.
I can
Or is
only
it
weave
leather?
hats.
Sheep bladder.
Probably leather.
Some sort of leather.
Yeah.
It would be some sort of leather.
I can only
I
weave
can
hats.
help with the leather. I can help you fix that. Maybe.
True story.
Really?
Cast men.
Have you seen?
Oh, I have never actually described my character, but I've got black leather armor and Sunshine has black leather saddle embroidered with blue.
I would be forever in your debt.
I'd be happy to help.
Thank you.
There was absolutely no honor in that. I am so sorry that happened.
In offering
I'm gonna
help
recover the
fix
dagger.
bagpipes?
It's not there.
He took it with him.
Oh, he took it with
Slash,
him.
not
He
throw.
slashed-
Yeah,
Ah,
he
you
slashed
slashed
through it.
it.
He didn't
Yeah.
throw it. So it's not there for you to find.
I have your back if they attack you again.
Thank you, sir.
I guess we turn to Jaka.
She's sort of leaned back in her chair. Her arms are crossed beneath her breasts. She's looking at you, paper on the table forgotten.
I point towards the door. Friends of yours?
Nah,
Acquaintances?
nah.
And my face is kind of returned back to its regular point.
You do know how to make an entrance, don't you?
It's a sore
We
loser.
try.
He drank a little too much last night and was quite sorely beaten.
I apologize.
Never would have guessed that a sailor would be drunk in the night.
She made a funny.
You're with Lurch there, I see. I assume you're heading into the jungle.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, are you bound any place in particular?
We are attempting to find the lost city of Omu.
The lost shitty of a
You did not say the city.
She leans
Lost shitty.
she leans forward and just sort of taps your shoulder and says, "Isn't everybody, honey?"
No, really.
Well, if you're looking for someone who's been there, I'm going to tell you right up front, I never
Nobody's
have.
been there.
Nobody's been there. Nobody knows where it is.
We have heard.
We're more looking for somebody who can help us kind of navigate Schultz since, clearly none of us are from here.
Really? Never would have guessed.
Is it the spider? Is that what gave me away?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I can do that for sure.
Where's Firefinger? As we have heard that you will trade, you're looking for a wooden mask in exchange for pricing.
I like to imagine you literally reading this out of the letter.
Well, if you must know, Firefinger is down the river, Tariki. Or up the river Tariki, I should say.
Tariki.
Where's that?
Describe-
All right, so we pull out our map.
Yeah.
Oh,
Where would Firefinger be?
As I don't see a river Shishash Tariki.
Wait, so, oh.
Tariki sauce?
Tariki.
Oh, that?
Ah.
Is Firefinger?
gonna be right around there.
Okay.
Aaron.
She won't take us far.
About how many days' travel would it be?
Oh, this time of year, the rivers. Well, let's face it. Most times of the year, the river's running pretty slow. Probably take 3 or 4 days.
How would you describe your expertise?
How would she describe her expertise? Ferocious.
Ferocious.
I feel like that's describing yourself as strong like an ox.
Strong like Russian bull.
So I understand you're fairly familiar with the jungle.
Yes.
How far have you ranged from Port Nanzaru?
Oh, I have been. My longest expedition pushed the 30-day limit.
Wow, and how far into the the unmapped portion here have you gone?
Oh. I've been down south of Kirsable. And I've trekked north from Snapping Turtle Bay a couple of times.
And you've spent a lot of time in the jungle, you're very familiar with it?
I would say so, yes.
When you said you were born there, did you actually mean that? In your little pamphlet thing we read?
Quite literally, yes.
I like her.
So that will be a Nat 19 insight, and I spent an inspiration to get that. How honest is she being?
She is as upright as anyone you've ever seen.
I like her.
Yes. Let's take her.
Isn't she the one with the awesome name?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. More points.
Well, we do have a few more people to talk to, but your resume is certainly impressive. And hopefully we'll see you again.
I do look forward to it.
Do we have anyone else? Oh, yes, we
have the
do.
2 tabaxi.
And old Hugh.
Oh, yes.
How many we got left? 2?
3, technically. So
The 2 are together.
We have show.
I'm going to turn to walk out of the tavern.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's
So
following
the
me.
two-
I bow and I make sure that my hand is on the hilt of my sword this time as we go through the door.
Yep.
Okay.
Being cautious as we leave.
Roll me a perception check.
That will be a 6.
18.
18. I mean, the streets are busy, but there doesn't seem to be anything untoward, lying in wait for you. You are catching sort of smatterings of, like, gossipy type rumors.
The usual.
The usual. In fact, make me an insight check.
12.
Nope. Okay.
On to the next place.
All right.
Well, actually, as soon as we sort of step away from the tavern, I'm actually going to stop the group and say,
I like her.
do we feel the need to
I like her.
see the rest?
I think that she is being completely honest about her skills, and I have a good feeling.
She
Well
seems
organized.
to offer everything we want.
She seems good, but it would still be good to see how far everybody else has been on the map. And see if they can put any points
Given
on
what
that.
everyone else said, and
Most
from
of them
what
to
what
the
little
coast.
we know about the others, I'm not sure anyone's going to have traveled any farther than the basin. It doesn't sound like anyone's. That sounds like the farthest anyone's ever been.
I know our Tabaxi friends certainly weren't the most ecstatic, at least with one of our party members.
Yeah,
and with
and
my appearance.
I'm not sure I trust anyone who might be working for the Zentarum.
Or who runs in a hello.
Yeah,
I agree.
it's a little suspicious. I think Azaka might be our
Perception.
best choice. she seems the most qualified.
I do think so. I would agree.
Thus far, I would agree with you as well.
Well,
Guess we
how
are-
many more do we have? to see?
Well,
more?
not counting the two tabaxi, there's Old Hugh,
The one with monkey fever.
supposedly.
What even is monkey fever?
Probably something you get from monkeys here.
Apparently it's for more than
What?
monkeys.
What?
Ugh.
Well, she does have a really cool name.
She does at that.
And she seems like the most trustworthy of any of the guides we've spoken to so far.
I agree. We should go with that one.
As far as I can tell, she's been completely honest with us. Every single vibe that I've gotten from her has been one of complete honesty and proficience.
And she certainly didn't feel the need to, she didn't feel the need to tell us why the competition wasn't good enough. She seems to believe she can stand on her own merits. So,
She
What
also
about-
didn't
That is
claim to
true.
have been to Omu.
yes.
What about her little personal quest thing?
That might be a side thing that perhaps.
After our
Um,
quest, of
We
course.
can
but
always
yes.
pay.
Given the nature of our ailment, I'm not sure I'd want to go off questing for something else before we find the source of this curse and hopefully fix it.
Well, and we're not actually paying
Perhaps.
the bill.
Right, we're not paying the
Listen,
bill, so I'm
her
not
quest
overly
will come
concerned.
afterwards.
Assuming we live that long.
Exactly.
Well, the other question would be,
Well,
where are we
On the
headed?
bright side,
Because if her quest is along the way, perhaps it'd be simple enough. If not,
Well, shit.
what?
You don't
You
don't
wouldn't-
like our plan?
You wouldn't happen to have a twin brother, would you?
Were you telling us to sit down?
No,
Twin-
no.
Brother, no.
I just saw you coming from that ship with an associate of mine who would
Hey, Braden. 3 women.
Yeah, Shri women.
you're a very popular man.
This sounds like a party.
What have you been doing?
I am.
So anyway, I think that it might be, in our best interest. I assume that every time.
Dice down! Dice down!
I'm so sorry.
I wish everyone on the stream could have seen
Yes.
the chaos that just happened.
Mayhem.
rolled a nat 1.
Mayhem,
Several
absolutely.
times.
Yeah.
He disconnected the stream.
So we'll get right back to that. 1 second here while I rebuild everything that we were doing. My God, Braden.
You never have Dex be your dump stat, Braden. Never. What were you thinking?
Funny you should say that.
To be fair, he did catch it.
That's true.
So apparently we
I think
killed
he
the
hom-
power
I think
strip.
he-
So
He homered himself.
Also, as a side note, my character for the pirate game has a low dex.
Oh no.
okay,
Keith, did
all
you
right.
start again?
Yeah, I should be back up
Oh, we're
now.
up?
We're back
So
up. We're good.
Yeah,
it
Brayden
took
rolled that one,
it took a
guys.
second. Sorry about that.
Twice.
All right,
Okay.
so where were we before the world ended?
I was about to.
Lance's double.
Okay, here we
Yeah. So it seems that from what everyone told us, I'm not sure anyone will have traveled much further than around this area. So I would assume the city will be somewhere past that.
Should we not be worried about your double walking around?
No, absolutely not. It's perfectly fine.
The same thing. What? How?
Fine.
It doesn't sound
Fine.
Oh, it's not fine.
I know, but
It is not.
I can do the
Does that
same
sound like
magic
that I
spell.
know?
Roll an Arcana check.
You know what? You're a powerful warrior. I trust your judgment.
sister.
Okay.
I should
That's
not
12.
have cried.
12?
Forgive me.
You know, there are spells that can make people look like other people. You know, there are creatures that can disguise themselves to look like other
We've seen
people.
one recently.
Exactly. You've seen one recently, the doppelganger with Mr. Sylvain. You know, there are illusion spells that can create visions. Some of them can be fairly convincing and can even make sound. It's from his description, it's kind of hard to narrow down what you think it might be out of those possibilities. There are quite a number of possibilities.
And there are identical twins.
So why don't we just hire Azaka and get on our merry way?
Well, Azaka. Oh, I wanted to go with the Moradin Gauntlet guy,
Now we
but
The dwarf
yeah,
Who knows nothing about the jungle?
but we can get sorry,
who has
but we can get farther inward.
But we don't
Assuming
even
we
know-
survive the mountain pass.
We also don't even know if we need to get further in. We have no idea where we're going at this point.
Plus,
Well, assuming
Shortcuts.
that this is our
is a bad
Target.
word when we talk about pathfinding.
I agree. So I say we hire Azaka and
I agree.
head out in whatever direction
Yes.
she thinks we should go.
I am agreed.
We're by the wharf. There was a joke. Does no one?
Oh? What?
What?
You're not having a good day. Neither am I.
So let's go in and hire Azaka.
Okay.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Apparently, Philippe, our ferret, had a bit of an itch. Pardon us
Pardon your noise.
pardon the noise.
All right. Well,
So,
Alright.
knock on the door and
So you're gonna go back into the
Yeah,
It's a
back into the tavern.
Go back in and hire her.
Yeah.
So she's reading from the piece of paper again and looks up as you come back in and says, "Oh, that was fast.
yes.
I
That was
assume
an
I
easy
made
decision.
the short list then."
A very
What?
short list.
One might say you were the short list.
Excellent. How well provisioned are you?
We could probably use some more provisions.
I can find food.
Perhaps insight
Helpful.
on how we should be equipped.
Food, water.
Of course.
Although I would recommend against trying to carry all the water you need.
Mhm.
Rain catchers definitely
Ah,
worth
we've got one
the
of those.
weight.
We have a few of those
Yes, we
already.
do have a
Excellent.
few.
So you're very well provisioned then
With water at least.
with water. Food.
Besides rations
10
that we
days
have.
rations.
I have about a week's rations.
Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
is-
spread the map out
I probably
on the
made
table and I'm gonna
Okay.
ask Azaka. Alright, so we gather that although no one's ever been to the city of Omu, where do you think would be the best place to start looking?
Well, the north part of the continent is pretty well explored. The Flaming Fist has made it their business to try and chart as much of the northern part of the continent as possible.
The flaming fish.
Yeah,
Fist.
they're a real piece of work. Let's just hope we don't cross paths with them. So, given that, I would say probably further south. Now, most of the expeditions that set out do use the rivers. The
I do
e-
have a fishing pole if you do decide to go that way.
also good to know. The eastern river, the river Soshenstar, does spill out into Aldani, the Aldani Basin. It is still possible to traverse the basin in canoes, and I would highly recommend that if you don't already have canoes. Good investment. Otherwise, it's a long slog on foot and a lot of dangers. There's even dangers on the river, but foot can be worse at times. The undead are restless this time of year.
Good to know.
Yes.
There are a couple of tributaries into the basin that have not been explored as deeply and as well. If I were a betting woman, which I'm not, by the way, don't even try, I would suggest that maybe one of those tributaries would be worth exploring.
It's the best
So I
time
have a
I've heard so far.
question.
Yes.
Have you ever died and been revived at any point?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Good.
Just wondering.
Wha-
Thank you.
Why? Have...
You don't know of the death curse?
Oh, I've heard of it, of course. I'm blessed to not be suffering from it.
No, we're good. We're good.
We are all not so lucky.
Oh. Oh.
I guess we could have mentioned that.
It might have, might should have come up, yeah.
And it did.
Did.
Just now.
Yes.
Yes.
Not take you into the middle of the woods withholding this information.
And I appreciate that.
You can
Heartily.
You can still not take the job if you so choose.
Oh. I would have to say that this... Well, let me ask it this way. Since all of you are already dying, are you keen on getting back alive?
It is not a requirement, it would be preferable, but
I'm about 50-50 at this point.
Of course, of course, of
I,
course.
Speak
I do
for
this for
yourself.
I do this for my wife and child. I do anything to keep them safe, including sacrificing my own life.
Okay.
The rest of us want to live a little bit more. Maybe?
I mean, it would be nice to
well,
come
Let's put
back
it this
alive.
way. Let's put it this
She would
way.
make a good wife for my son, so I would
How
like
old
her
is
to
your
live
son?
too. Well, I-
Anyway,
Let's put it this way. Let's say, for example, one or two of you might not make it out. Would the rest of you hold it against little old me?
No.
well, that
No.
depends. Did you stab them in their sleep?
Well, of course not.
Then no, I think we're good.
Did you
Okay.
do your best to keep them safe?
Of course.
Then yes, we are fine.
Okay.
We accept the dangers that might come our way.
Very well.
Of course, an acceptable loss of life.
He looks at the goblin.
The goblin. We do understand the risks.
We do understand the terms and service policy.
You do have a leash for that, right?
No,
I'm gonna
it's
look
more
at
if
Fire
we're
and say,
hoping we don't want a leash. That
Does he
means
need
it
him?
ties us to us. If we
not
don't
a
have
bad
a leash,
idea.
it'll just wander off. Hopefully.
I had an inspiration to give right now.
No, I don't have any more.
I have to spend mine.
That was
so how buying rations? How many days do you think we should plan for?
Well, the contract with me is minimum of 30 days. You've got me for 30 days, whether you want whether you want me or not. You've got me for 30 days, so I would suggest at least plan for that. To my way of thinking, it's always best to pad that number a little bit because things happen in the jungle. Rations get lost, wild animals rip things apart, boats capsize, there's any number of untoward occurrences that could happen. And there's every possibility that it might take longer than 30 days, so you might consider that as well.
How many canoes would you recommend us procuring?
2,000 pounds.
Oh, the canoes here in town are fairly sturdy and well built. The merchant prince in charge of that sees to it.
Well, all of us together plus our guide is going to be what, 10? 10 people.
Each canoe can carry 6 passengers.
So these are
Big
big.
So
canoes.
they're big
Yeah.
Why am I
canoes.
doing this on paper? I have a calculator.
So 2 canoes, and each canoe would have space for some provisions and
Mm-hmm.
other goods.
There's only so far canoes take us, however.
So they'd have to be carried.
Well, it depends.
But,
It
yeah,
depends
yeah.
if which river we take.
No.
Also, just to get to the.
I mean, it doesn't matter which
Whatever.
river we take. There's only so far. Over
Well, we know we can get as far as the basin,
Well,
at
we
the
just
very
leave the canoes
least,
behind.
which is
With the.
it's worth it.
And
that.
she suggested that we take a tributary as
Exactly.
well. So where she is leading us, water will take us at least most of the way.
Well, and thinking logically, if you were going to build a capital,
Oh.
a city of Omo, as it were, you would build where you had access to water.
It's
So
true.
So if
But
we were
it's
to
a
carry
lot, so there could
each.
be a dry river.
So in total, if each of us got rations for
3 canoes?
30 days each, that would be the weight.
Right, but we can store some in canoes.
Right, but can canoes hold 5,000 pounds?
So 3 canoes?
Or an extra one.
Well, we've
That
got
is
so
very-
we've got
Yeah.
2 people.
That is extra.
Okay.
I mean, 2 canoes carries 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a third, you
We
can
store provisions.
you can store
tied to it.
provisions
Yeah.
and split it among 3
I'll ask
canoes.
you-
About
Also,
my
another one
spider.
would be nice just in case if one of the
Oh, yes,
canoes
the spider.
crashes.
Yeah, so 3 canoes. I'm gonna look at Azaka and say, so 3 canoes. There's one member of our group not with us at the moment,
Oh,
and there's the spider.
Yeah.
He has to come with us.
the spider, of course.
If so,
Yes, 3, I believe, would be sufficient.
All right. How much were
200
canoes?
apiece?
50 each.
They were like
50 gold,
50
50 gold
gold
pieces
pieces.
apiece.
Lady
So
Sylvain.
that would be 150 of the canoes.
So
Georgia.
let's see. Who do I trust the most? Hadrian, would you like to procure rations for all of us?
I certainly can.
I will hand him 50 gold
Okay.
to go do that,
Okay.
and I will take the remaining 150 to go buy canoes.
Okay.
Please, Kai, if you would accompany me.
I stand.
That would be 50.
She is still sitting at the table and looking at you expectantly. I believe we've forgotten.
Mistress Sylvain is handling. She's our benefactor. She's handling the payments. We can stop by there and make sure everything gets all taken care of.
The merchant Prince Jabal, I think, will help to provide for this arrangement.
Jobal takes his cut, but he takes it from me, so I need the money up front. Let's make sure that we go visit your
Absolutely.
friend.
That's money to buy a dragon.
What?
I mean a dinosaur.
Drama dragon.
Dragons.
Dramagons.
Maybe a
Get
set of
T-Rex.
people.
Dying.
I'm just trying to think of like how when we're not in the water, how we're gonna deal with these canoes because I can't carry a canoe. I can't even help carry them.
No, we just stash them and hide
You
them.
can't reach the canoe to help.
Exactly.
Anyway,
All right. So she.
canoe group is stopping by Mistress Sylvain. Who's going with canoes?
Okay.
I'll go.
So
Right.
so remind me which one you guys picked.
Azaka.
Azaka. So Azaka stands up. She takes her sheaf of papers and the gold coins, rolls the papers up, stuffs them in the pouch. The gold goes into an inside pocket of her vest, which she buttons up very tightly against wandering hands. Very tightly. And she stands, flips one gold piece to the bartender, and walks out with you. So as you guys are traipsing back through the city, Azan looks at you and pulls you aside.
Bum.
Ba-da-dun-dun-dun-dun. So the plan is to take this river.
Yeah, we're gonna take that river into the basin and take a tributary from there. We're assuming the lost city's gonna be like
Somewhere in that.
yeah, somewhere in the part
Hopefully.
nobody's ever been before.
Yeah.
One would assume. So you saw a boat.
Yes, the don't quote me on this. The Brazen Pegasus.
Reason Pegasus.
The
How
Brazen.
interesting.
There were three women got off. One looked a lot like you. One
I like
I
women.
happen to know. And a third, who I describe as her.
Whatever Keith described.
Yeah. I couldn't remember.
Either of you.
Sure.
Oh, that's good.
After a quiet, hushed conversation, Azine bows to each of you, bids you farewell. I must find my master. And he turns and he walks off down a side street.
So, what did the big guy want?
He offered his own services. However, his price was more than the average. Not what I think we could afford, especially since our benefactor would probably not be willing to pay for it.
Why is he so special?
Well, we could always find out. Would he be of use?
Have you seen the man? I think, of course, he would. Unfortunately, I don't think that we can afford it.
How much?
How much?
800
A day?
for the 30 days.
Oh.
Still, I think out of our price
That
range.
would be
What
a large sum.
Quite.
What was his expertise?
I didn't think to ask, although if you look at the man, he stands taller than myself, and
I know. I mean, why did he? Find
Right, but that doesn't
himself-
mean he would know how to navigate
Yeah.
or survive in the jungle.
Exactly.
He's a fighter.
As
but,
big and tall as he is, he may not know where he's going. But
Did he sell himself? Did he tell you what he could do that would make him worth 800?
he said he knows his way around this part of the...
how far away is he from the group at this point?
He's out of sight at this point.
Has he been
We
to
can always find
the
him
Lost
later.
City?
Of course not.
No one knows where it is.
Even he isn't foolish enough to claim that he did.
Well, if you think it's worth pursuing, we can see how much our benefactor. I don't know the limits of her wealth. And I mean, she is dying, so if ever there was a time to break open the piggy bank, would be now.
I'm just not sure it would be worth it.
He is a tight-lipped person. I am not sure how much we can trust him.
He did lie to us directly. He was
Directly.
very surprised with our map.
Yes, but I'm not sure we can hold that against him. We're a bunch of foreigners.
Yes. But
But he would
anyone
not
who
say
wants to offer their services, I do expect a certain level of honesty.
It's
We
true.
did already hire Azaka.
And she has an awesome name.
We're not paying for it, so if our benefactor's willing to pay for 2, I'm not gonna say no. You were the one he talked to, Pyre. What do you think?
I don't think it would be worth it.
Okay.
All right.
Why did he talk to you?
Look at me.
You are very clean.
Very red.
Thank you.
That's a factor.
So we're splitting.
Why you?
Those
I'm
two are gonna go
obviously
get
the leader
rations.
here.
The rest of us are gonna go stop
Clearly.
by and do payment for the guide. Go get canoes.
Okay.
Yes.
We are
understand.
actually
We're
going
the
to call it here for the night. This is a good place to stop. When we come back, it will be towards the afternoon of this first day. All of your errands will will be accomplished.
Okay.
But we are going to hit that with our next session. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for following us and following these crazy adventures. They are crazy adventures. You never know what's going to happen. The whole stream may die.
Thanks, Braden.
Thanks, Brady. But please do smash that like button and follow along with us. We are slogging our way through the jungles of Shult. We are trying to find the cure for the death curse. Until next time on this little channel of ours, hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.